Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are honored to have such esteemed guests on our show today, chatting about ForceCon 2022. Joining us is CJ Machado, making a return appearance. She's brave enough to do that. CEO and founder of ForceCon 2022. Honored in the studio with us is Vincent Speranza. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Real close.
Very close. Close enough? You know, close. Okay, I'll do that over here. World War II, U.S. Army veteran, Battle of the Bulge paratrooper. Can't wait to talk to you about that. And joining him, his colleague is Matt Oberman, the Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army, Southern California Recruiting Battalion Commander. Did I get the title right?
You nailed it.
I nailed it. Very good. The interview was over, and we had a good time chatting about it. No, listen, I think it's just an honor to be with you, Vincent. Can't wait to hear the stories that you're going to share. My dad is smiling from above. My dad fought in World War II at Guadalcanal. And so when we have folks on like you, the heroes, and you too, Matt, it's spectacular. And we love to have people like CJ who shout out all the great work you're doing. So before we get over to Vincent and to Matt, CJ, what is ForceCon 2022? You are the CEO and founder.
Yes, sir. Thank you, first of all, for having us all on here and honoring Vincent J. Speranza, who is a big part of ForceCon, which is expected to be the largest 3-day military convention coming to the country, involving our real-life superheroes, such as Vincent J. Speranza and Lieutenant Colonel Upperman, who serve our country and protect our freedom. And so, did you want me to expand on the...
I would love you to expand. How many days is it? Where is it? And what's the website, most importantly, so people can participate?
It's force-con.com. And tonight we're having our opening night. Vincent is one of our honored guests. He will tell you, of course, but he is a Battle of the Bulge machine gunner, and he's an icon in Belgium for his service. So this evening, we're going to be at the San Diego Air and Space Museum, red carpet event from 6 to 7. We even have a police horse named Wham, retired police horse named Wham, walking the red carpet and being reunited with its prior trainer. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have the D-Day Squadron that will be joining us as well, Legends of Aviation, and celebrating our World War II veterans. Day 2 is at the Hotel del Coronado, folks, and Vincent is going to be jumping tomorrow at the Hotel del Coronado, along with the POW Vietnam veteran named Lieutenant Willie Sharp. And so that is day 2. That starts at 11 is the jump, and it's free to the public, so come out and watch us.
That sounds terrific. So, Vincent, when we saw your name up here, my colleague Charles Parisi, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast, just oh my goodness, I said, "Can we turn this into a 7-hour interview?" And the answer is no, we can't do that. Where you hail from? Where were you born?
I was born in New York City on March 23rd, 1925.
Okay, we're close in March 26th when I was born, but not 1925.
All great men were born in March.
Absolutely,
including Julius Caesar.
Yeah, right, exactly. My dad was born in the Bronx, in New York. So you're born in New York. You did your schooling in New York, right? When did you join the Army?
In 1943, at that time, the law was as soon as you are 18 years of age, within 2 weeks, you get a letter from the President of the United States which says, greetings, you come in or shall we come and get you? No, it said...
Pretty close.
Please report to your nearest...
recruiting station, right?
Yeah, at that time it was your draft board.
Right, draft board, right.
register for the draft, and that's what you do, and you think you're going to be able to get in right away, but you're not. They tell you, go back home. We'll call you when the time comes. In other words, I was 18 in March. I had to wait until November before they finally called me up.
So they called you up, and now you're doing your boot camp?
Well, it's not called boot camp, but when they call you up, you report to and you get sworn in. You're now a member of the United States Army, and they give you a battery of tests. And then an officer, by the way, you don't have any choices.
You do now, by the way.
They say Army, Navy, or Marine Corps, yeah. The officer sits down with you with that battery of tests and says, Speranza, you did 97 in mechanical aptitude. You like tanks? Yes, sir. And you did 90 in math and science. You like artillery? Yes. He goes through a whole bunch of stuff that I'm qualified for and then takes a big stamp, infantry, which is what we wanted anyway.
Very good. So
if you want to get into the fight, that's where it is.
Okay, we're going to get to that.
So they sent me to Fort Benning, Georgia.
Beautiful.
To the infantry school.
Okay, for how long?
Well, a big sergeant. Now we're 18-year-old kids right out of high school. Okay?
Right.
Get off the bus, and a big sergeant comes out and says, "My name is Mastorelli. You got it?" We said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Don't give me that sir crap. You saved that for the officers." Mastorelli, Sergeant Mastorelli. You got it? Yes, Sergeant. Now, I got 19 weeks to turn you little students into soldiers. You got it? And by God, I'm going to do it. All you got to remember is when Sergeant Mastorelli says jump, you say how high and how far. You got it? Yes, sir. Yes, Sergeant. Now get into those barracks and come out looking like soldiers.
And that's what you did.
And I assure you, he did turn us little kids into, 19 weeks later, we were different people. And so we're now ready to get into the fight. You know, it looked very bad. The country was in trouble. And the Germans had already taken all of Europe, and they were in the Ukraine on their way to Russia. The Japanese were almost down to Australia. We couldn't wait to get into the fight. So when we graduated, we're ready to go. No, you got to come back for 4 more weeks of advanced infantry training. Okay, you go back for the 4 weeks of advanced. Now, right? Now you got to come back for 2 more weeks of heavy weapons training. You know, mortars, machine guns, and the 50 caliber. Okay, to it now, right? No, you have to be assigned to a line outfit. They sent me to the 87th Infantry in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, the Acorn Division. All right, now we're going to get into the fight, right? Maneuvers in Tennessee, jungle training in Florida. When the hell are we going to get into this fight? One day they take us out to a big field. They said, there'll be a demonstration today. We said, what kind of demonstration? Shut up and sit down. We sit down. 3 C-47s come out of the sky here. They fly over the field. And we're sitting there with our mouths open. The doors open, and we see men throwing themselves out the door. A little white thing takes them down to the ground, and they roll up their parachutes, and they come running up and line up in front of us. Big, beautiful guys, you know, with shiny silver wings. And, you know, paratroopers were brand new then. Only paratroopers were allowed to wear jump boots with pants, blouse, shiny jumpers. And the lieutenant comes by and says, this is the United States Parachute Corps. We're looking for a few good men. You have to have had your 19 weeks, your 4 weeks, your 2 weeks, and so on. Who wants to volunteer? And we went, but throw yourself out of an airplane? And then he says, and there's $50 extra a month jump pay.
Yeah.
So they took 7 of us back to Fort Benning, only this time to the parachute school. In other words, we were already trained infantry soldiers, ready to fight, but now they had to teach us how to jump out of an airplane and get to the fight earlier. Those 5 weeks, you cannot believe it. We had the best damn officers in the world. By the way, they lost their rank when they went through jump school. They had to come through just like us. And there was nothing to see one of the buck sergeants would grab a lieutenant colonel by the pants who would fall out during the runs. But the finest training in the world. They taught us. They were not only teaching our muscles. The first half of every day was physical training. Run 45 minutes here. But the spirit that they gave us, when we graduated from jump school, we were ready to take on the whole damn German army by ourselves. They taught you that even though you think, no, I can't do anymore. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Your brain decides what the body's going to do. And we for example, small arm circles, right? And you're doing small arm circles. You're waiting for him to say stop. He doesn't say stop. You keep doing small arm circles. Finally, they say, get those arms up there. And you say, I can't. Get those arms up there. Finally, he says, stop. I didn't tell you to put your arms down. Get those arms back up there. Now, you wound them up. I want you to unwind them. And you say, all of a sudden, when he comes around, he says, get those arms up there. Yeah, you get them up. And then you know what you find? Yeah, you can do more. In combat, you know what a difference that makes? When you say, Jesus Christ, 3 days solid, artillery fire, I can't take... Don't give me that crap, pal. You talk to yourself. Don't give me that crap, pal. You can take more. Because you remember back there when they told you to unwind it? You did it, didn't you?
Well, you certainly did. We're chatting with Vincent Speranza. He is a World War II U.S. Army veteran with the Battle of Bulge. We're going to hear about that in a few seconds. Joined by CJ Machado, CEO and founder of ForceCon 2022, and Lieutenant Colonel Matt Opperman. So you are in the same, you were a 101, right?
Yeah, so my first unit of assignment joining the Army in 2003 was with the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault at that time. And Vincent and I talked about that. So the 101st doesn't do airborne operations anymore. We do air assault with helicopters, but the same principle and the same pride in that unit and its storied history, right, which Vincent was a part of. Now, I'll tell you, being a veteran myself and being in the Army for nearly 20 years now, we certainly stand on the shoulders of giants like Vincent. And much like Vincent's talked about, right, I think the Army, it's safe to say, I spoke to him a little while ago, that the Army turned him into the best version of himself that he possibly could be. And that's what we're still trying to do. So, my current position as the commander of the Southern California Recruiting Battalion, our job, my 400 soldiers and I, are out in Southern California every day trying to be members of the community and trying to connect with those soldiers, those students, those citizens that will live the best versions of themselves and their best versions of their life by joining the service.
Right. So where were you deployed?
So I've been deployed 5 times. Wow. Certainly a little bit different experience than Vincent had, but I've been to Iraq twice, wow. Afghanistan twice, and then actually to the Republic of the Philippines in Holo Island down in southern Philippines.
Well, listen, we're in awe of your service, and of course, Vincent's. We come back from break. We're going to chat with Vincent about bringing him back to the Battle of the Bulge and what that was like, iconic warfare, obviously. And then, CJ, you'll be able to shout out some more things about ForceCon 2022, right? She's nodding her head, yes.
Thank you.
You can
yes.
see this through the internet when we were right back. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diegans for more than 60 years.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you. But something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you are listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community show on the Cloudcast Media channel here at Mission Fed Credit Union. It's beautiful headquarters here in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed has been doing great things for San Diegans for 60 years. I'm joined by CJ Machado, CEO and founder of ForceCon 2022. Vincent J. Speranza, World War II U.S. Army veteran. He's going to talk about his experiences in the Battle of the Bulge, and joined by his colleague, Lieutenant Colonel Matt Upperman. He is a U.S. Army SoCal recruiting battalion commander. And he's nodding and saying, Drew, you finally got that right. So it's all good. CJ, this must be heartwarming to see these two gentlemen right across from us here.
This is fun, Drew. Thank you for having us on. Just to see Vincent and then to see Upperman with Vincent, it's amazing. Go Army. Army strong. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very, very good. So, Vincent, bring us to your experiences in the Battle of the Bulge.
Okay. Keep in mind, my rank is private first class.
Right.
You need a little background for the Battle of the Bulge.
Please.
The 101st Airborne Division took a beating in Holland. It established a name for itself in D-Day and that battle and so on and so on. The market garden operation in Holland was a complete failure. You know, the books don't talk too much about it, but we got our rear ends kicked good there. And as a consequence of the bad planning, the First Allied Airborne Army was almost captured and annihilated, but managed to escape. The 101st and the 82nd came out of Holland in very bad shape. The 101st had lost almost 3,000 men. They had to leave most of its equipment and the regular supplies that a division has on hand were not there when it ended up in Camp Mormelon in northern France. This was in November. They came out of Holland in November. They were supposed to get 90 days of rest, rehabilitation, replacements, bring them food, clothing, and so on, winter clothes, and so on. It was not to be. Nobody knew it. Neither British intelligence nor American intelligence even had a clue. Hitler had saved up 25 divisions. 9 of them Panzers with their newest tanks, Mark IVs, Tiger Royals, and they had over 1,000. And the plan was to go from Germany through Belgium, got to funnel through the Ardennes, to capture Antwerp. Antwerp was our port of entry, where all our supplies and equipment came in. The idea was them to deny us the supplies, have the supplies for themselves. It would have split the Canadian and British forces in the north from the American forces in the south. changed the war. I don't know how much, but if they had succeeded, I think history would be different today. Eisenhower said to the 101st Airborne Division, "Come as you are, but there's a little town called Bastogne between Germany and Antwerp, and they got to go. It was a transportation hub. It had 5 roads and 2 railroads going through it. They have to take that town to be able to get to Antwerp, and your job is to stop it." Now, of course, we enlisted, but we know nothing. All we know of is 4 o'clock in the morning on the 17th of November. The barrack lights come on. And so hey! I almost said drop your... And grab your socks, we're moving up. We said, "Sergeant, you're crazy. The ground is frozen. We'll all break our legs." He said, "You're not jumping. You're going up in trucks." All I could think of was all my airborne training, all the parachutes. I'm going to make my first combat jump off the back of a truck. But then from all over the barracks, "Lieutenant, I don't have a helmet. I don't have a rifle. I don't have this." I was a machine gunner without a machine gun. I had a trench knife in my boot. And then we all start yelling, "Stop bitching. Make a list. We'll stop and get what you need along the way." And we believed it. Okay, so we took a piece of paper. I said, "I need a nice machine gun, 17 with bipod if possible, 8 or 9 tins of ammunition." You know what stuff. That in my book I go into detail about it. But that truck ride, all day and all night with no stops, and you could almost say some funny hygiene scenes. Was a miserable. We were freezing. We didn't have any winter clothes. We hadn't had any food or water. We get to Bastogne. We see the sign, Bastogne. Where the hell's Bastogne? I don't know. Are we Sweden? Maybe are we going to Sweden? All we know is the lieutenant says, "All right, 5 yards apart, and watch out for snipers." I said, "Lieutenant, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?" He said, "We'll get you something, maybe off a disabled tank or something. Move out." So here we're going into Bastogne. They later on told us the figures. 10% of us were unarmed. And what saved us was that the German push toward Bastogne. There were 4 American divisions holding the Ardennes line there, 4th, 28th, 128th, and I think the 9th Armored. And the Germans destroyed them as units. They were no longer fighting units. They were completely destroyed. Well, 25 divisions coming at them. And the stragglers were ordered to the rear. They had to go through Bastogne. So now they were going out. We were coming in, and we just went up to, hey, buddy, you're going back. We took the rifle right off his shoulder. You got any grenades? You went into the pockets and so on. Those of us that were unarmed were armed before the first battle from the stragglers that came through town. I found a guy with a nice light 30, and I said, "Oh, that looks so heavy. Let me help you carry it." And I took his gun, and he had 2 belts of ammunition. At least for the first fight, I had a gun, and I had 2 belts of ammunition. I also picked up an M1, because you know damn well in the first 5 minutes of any fight, 2 belts of ammunition is going to go, and a bandolier of ammo. Dig a hole. The ground's frozen. Luckily, we had the new shovels that you could bang. Digging a hole. The shovel bounces back in your face, and you bang, and it comes back in your face. Finally, you get through the frozen part, and then there's the roots of the tree, the Ardennes. It took us 4 hours. Machine gunners got to dig a 2-man hole. Excuse me. And we, it's like maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We had no food or water since we got off the trucks. And we just flopped down and, hey, we're moving out. Gee, we got to go dig in over there. This is right outside of Boston, a place called Mont, where my company was there then. Okay, we move over there. Now, we're exhausted already, but, hey, we did some kind of shallow hole there, flopping there. Hey, we're moving out. That's all. That's all. Even if you're young and strong and tough, there's only so much you can do. We just scraped the snow aside and laid down on the ground and hold it. That was the end of it. With a little rest, you get up, you manage to dig some kind of hole. Now, this is the 18th. When daylight came, absolute silence. The fog was all the way down to the ground. You couldn't see anything. You couldn't see 10 yards. And so now you're tensing up something, and the fog starts to lift like a curtain all at once, because it starts going up. And you see underneath there. And in front of us, we couldn't believe it. It was an open ground with woods on both sides. We said, are they going to attack us across an open ground? They don't know the 101st Airborne's in there, Whatever it was, as soon as the fog got high enough for us to see through, my friends, the whole world went on fire. The sound was enough to drive you crazy. They later told us that a shell was landing every 8 seconds from the big guns. And then the smaller stuff they said, but explosions, the white, beautiful snow starts turning black with holes here and all around. And all you could do is the sergeant yelled, just keep your head down. But we didn't need much urging. All you could do is stick your nose down to the bottom of the foxhole and wait. And the ground is shaking all over. It's like an earthquake. And, it seems forever, but eventually tanks pop out of the woods on both sides. In front of me, where we were 4 of them, coming up this way, and the German infantry starts up the field. And the tanks now are firing point blank into the foxhole. When they hit one, the guy disappears. All you see is his rifle floating. And the tanks now are almost on us, so the artillery fire goes beyond us now. And we're able to stick our heads up. But what the hell are you going to do with a machine gun or a Mark IV tank? In fact, their new ones, our bazookas used to bounce off. They had the new kind of armor plate in the front of the Mark IV tanks. At any rate, the tanks come up, and the lieutenant keeps saying, keep your heads down, keep your heads down, keep your heads down. Let the tanks go by, as though we could do anything about it. It sounds funny now, but it wasn't funny then. Let the tanks go by. Yeah, okay. We stuck our heads down. The tanks lower us. And by the way, you could see in the German infantry attack that they were like cocky. They had just destroyed 4 American divisions and so on. They didn't know the 101st Airborne Division was in it. Their intelligence said we were 130 miles south at Camp Montmelon. And they were like jaunting across the open fields. And the lieutenant said, set your sights for 400 yards, because the ground slope, there was about 800 yards altogether. It started sloping up at 400 yards. We catch them on where it's more difficult to run. When they got to he, like I read in the poem, not yet, not yet, and finally we're dying. Jesus. They keep coming on and on. Finally he says, now. And what a surprise they got. They thought that their tanks had done the usual job, destroyed the front line, or get them to surrender. But surprise, surprise, we slaughtered them.
Wow.
We slaughtered them. They beautiful targets, snow, open field there. And it's where I earned the nickname Curse and Traverse Speranza. They said, we never heard such cursing in all our lives. All you kept doing was swearing and cursing. We think you invented some new ones. They said, but you did the 3-second burst of curse, traverse, traverse, traverse. He said, the swing back and forth, you must have slaughtered a whole damn company by yourself. The story was they were surprised, they were shocked, and they had to turn around and go back. Now, when the infantry is not there, the tanks, they got to turn around and go back. On their way back, McAuliffe's artillery destroyed the 4 tanks in front of me. Not one of them got beyond the field. McAuliffe was an artillery commander. And now I say, thank God that he was, because I don't know if the division commander would have done the same thing. He deployed his guns so that they not only fired at the perimeter, but each gun was also on ground so that it could fire across town and hit the other side, meaning any place they attacked. All the guns could be brought forth on it. And that's what saved us. We had one battalion of the 10th Armored Division. They had 73 tanks. We had one battalion of the 705 tank destroyers. They had the newest 75 millimeter anti-tank gun. What a job they did. People don't mention enough of those two outfits when we were in Bastogne. I do. And after that first attack, they never tried a meant attack again. They surrounded us. The next day, they slipped around on both sides, and they captured the field hospital. All the beds, blankets, morphine, they shot the American personnel, except for the doctors. They saved 5 of our doctors to serve in their army. 1 doctor and 1 Belgian nurse escaped into the town. And so for that battle, that 8 days in Bastogne, our medical team was 1 doctor, 1 Belgian nurse, and only his own personal instruments. He had to operate with candles from the church, and they ran out of morphine. We don't know it, of course. We're on the front line, but we lost, I don't know how many men who, had we had a decent field hospital or something, would have been saved. And, the movies show you nice cots and nurses. Not in this fight. The only 2 buildings in the whole town that still had walls were the church and the seminary across the street from the church. And everything else was flattened. The Luftwaffe had been in twice. The artillery had flattened the whole town. And the only place we could put them was throw them on the floor of the church. And we went through the houses to pull drapes, curtains, anything we could find to wrap the guys in. Those of us that had 2 blankets donated one. We were all freezing our asses off anyway. The situation was kind of bad. Now, there's 56,000 Germans out there trying to get in, and there's 12,000 of us in there. Limited food, limited ammunition, limited this. When they had surrounded us, and I guess I can go into the beer story here too, right?
Well, listen, let me ask you this, though. This is so compelling. I can listen to this for 5 hours. Are you kidding me? We're chatting again with Vincent Speranza, World War II U.S. Army veteran, talking about his experiences in the Battle of the Bulge. And if you don't know what the Battle of the Bulge is, I encourage you to go right now and YouTube it and see what this hero has done, joined by his colleague, Lieutenant Colonel Matt Upperman, and then CJ Machado, CEO and founder. Let me ask you this, Vincent. You said you wrote a book? What's the name of the book?
Nuts.
Nuts. Okay, as in N-U-T-S?
Let me tell you the origin of that. The battle started on the 18th. By the 23rd, by the 22nd, we were almost out of ammunition. We were down to 1K ration a day. And all of a sudden, we see a Jeep. The artillery stops firing. We see a Jeep with a white flag with the 2 German officers and cocky bastards that we always said, oh, they want to surrender. They came to the front line. And now we don't know what's going on. All we knew is we could get out of the foxhole and move. Later on, you hear what happened. They asked to be taken to our commanding officer, and the commanding officer, General McAuliffe, the German interpreter said, the tides of war have changed. You are surrounded. We know you're low on food, ammunition, and clothing. We have captured all the towns nearby, and the German army is now in command with this. We offer you honorable surrender terms. And supposedly, McAuliffe said, surrender? Nuts. Now, that's the rumor version. Those of us who knew General McAuliffe said, McAuliffe saying nuts? That must be what the printable version was. But at any rate, that's what went down in the books, that his response to surrender was nuts. And so I named my book.
So, CJ, where did we get this book?
Well, we have one reserved for you, Drew.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
I'm honored.
Yes.
Good. I'm going to look forward to that. So, CJ, first of all, Vincent, what an honor to hear these stories. And Lieutenant Colonel Upperman, thank you for joining us. CJ, you're a treasure. I know you're going to have a great event. We can't wait to get this episode out. This is just so compelling. It's not funny. What final comments do you want to have?
I'm honored to be producing ForceCon 2022 because of Vincent J. Speranza, who's a very dear friend. And that Nuts book, sir, can be found on Amazon as well.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your unbelievable service in World War II, your continued service, Lieutenant Colonel Upperman, and CJ, for what you're doing to shout all these folks out. We're going to look forward when you come up for air. We're going to look forward to maybe having a debrief on how everything went.
Yes, sir.
And again, we were just so honored to have you on our Spotlight Show. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing great things to San Diegans for more than 60 years.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.